Good day. I'm going to be going over your Module 3, Unit 3.2 assignment, which is discussing about the learning stories. I do want to go over the learning stories to make sure everybody understands exactly what I'm looking for with regards to the learning story itself. Um, Please go through the lecture slides and the assigned readings through the different links. Okay, so take a look at those. Um, And this video here is I believe Wendy Lee is in this video, and she's talking about the uh, how learning stories actually became learning stories in New Zealand, and the Tafahiki, I probably said it wrong, which is the New Zealand early learning framework, and how that was created and developed, and those approaches to learning. Okay. This first video here is a practice video. So if you do want to watch the video and create a learning story based off of this video for yourself, you can certainly do that. But the video that I do want you to watch for the observation for your learning story is here. Okay, it is of two two uh, two children, Jonah and Joy, I believe. Joy and Jonah. Joy is the little girl, and Jonah is the boy. Um, so you're gonna watch that video and then create a learning story based off of that. Now, for learning stories, I want to go over a couple things. Um, Learning stories, I want you to make sure that you do have a few different components to it. So um, on this site, which is Tom Drummond's website, he talks about learning stories and having 6 different components to it. All right. So what he talks about is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But he breaks it down into a couple of different things. So what guides a learning story, and this is the way I want you to do it, is the first. There's 6 different things, and it's not necessarily an order of what he's talking about, but I'm going to do it in order from top down from a learning story perspective. What you would do, and again, you don't have to do this in this order either. Your title can be last if you want it to be, but your title is usually on top, right? So you have your title of the learning story itself. So what are you going to call it? What is it about? So for Samantha on the playground could be called Samantha on the playground, right? So we have a title. um, Pictures. Okay, so we need pictures. At least one picture, but the more pictures you have, the better. Okay, so you need at least one, but the more the better. So if you're expecting to get into an exemplary kind of on the rubric, then we need to have at least more than one. Okay. Um, you're also going to use. You're also going to tell the story. So we have the title, the pictures. Now we have a story. The story is going to be about what happened, basically. Okay, what happened in the video, what or in the observation, and you're going to use it the same way as we do with the annotated or anecdotal observation, where we're looking at it in past tense. You're going to talk. You're going to be using I statements, so it's first person as well. So it can be. You can start it off by telling why you chose to observe this or record this observation. In the field, you could do that. Um, Here, I don't want you to say, because Richard made me do it. I want you to say something around the lines of, I was watching Samantha play today outside in the playground, and I was amazed at how she was playing. And then you can go into your observation. Now, in your observation, Tom Drummond suggests that it doesn't have to be totally objective. I agree with that, but I want you to try and be as objective as you can. The more objective you are, the less bias comes into the story. Okay, so you can use it a little bit. I won't take marks off for you being objective in this way, but really where I want you to do your analysis is more in the what does it mean. Okay, so being not totally objective, you can say she's happy. Okay, so something like that, right? Where uh, you looked really happy, and I was really glad as well. So you can do words like that, but don't try and analyze it within the story itself. Okay, the next one. So we have the title, pictures, story. The next one we need to have is the what does it mean. Now, for the what does it mean, I want you to actually put that subtitle there. Okay, so what does it mean? It can be bold, but I want you to have it there, and then you can identify what does it mean in this for this observation. So this is where you're interpreting your data that you've collected on the child. Um, in this case, what I want you to do is you're going to change your voice again. You're going to change your voice in the sense of you're going to be talking directly to the child in this case. Okay, I'll show you an example. Josie Strip. I'll show you an example on that and what that would look like as well. But you want to talk to the child. You were very energetic this morning, and I was really surprised at how fast you were and how fast you climbed. You used a lot of gross motor skills in balance and problem solving as you tried to climb and navigate the climber. Gymnasts also do this as well. And then you can talk about gymnasts a little bit, and then you can go into that type of thing. So I'll show you an example as well in that Tom Drummond has. All right. So that's what you're going to do there. You're going to do your analysis, but you're going to also speak to the child, okay, about your analysis, what they did, the skills that were being developed that you think that were being developed in that case, your interpretation of what you think it was, and then move forward from there. Okay. Then we're going to get into opportunities and possibilities. I want you to have that subtitle there as well, the opportunities and possibilities. Okay, and it could be bold just like this. But the opportunities and possibilities is something that you're going to think about what you could do next. This one is the we in this voice, so I wonder what we could put out, or I wonder what would happen if we put out different climbing apparatuses to make it harder for you to climb and give you more of a challenge. Or I wonder what we could do to challenge you more in the climbing, right? Maybe we could make an obstacle course, or like a ninja warrior obstacle course, and we can time you and see how fast you can go through it, and maybe the other kids will join. Okay, so something of that nature, but you're extending the learning. Now the extension can be presented in a couple of ways. You can focus on the activity that was happening. All right, so in this case, the climbing, right, or in the climber, or you can focus on the skill, which might be gross motor. Okay, so you can do either or and better is both, right? But you want to extend it. You want to make it a little bit more challenging, a little bit more. You want to challenge them more. Okay, so that's the next one. So we have again going through the six that I believe we're at 5. The 6 that we have the title. Okay, so the title, the pictures, the story, what does it mean, which needs a subheading, opportunities and possibilities, which needs a subheading. Right, so that's 5. The last one is the easiest one. I want the family voice. Okay, you have to have a blank page at the back that says family voice. This gives the family a voice. It gives the child a voice as well to look at your documentation and interpret it for themselves and add to it, uh, or they can talk about whatever they want to. But they usually generally what they will do is we ask them to also talk to the child, right? More of the what does it mean when they're writing their statements or whatever. But whatever they want to, actually, it doesn't really matter as long if we can get them engaged. That's a really good opportunity. Okay, so these are the 6 here. He talks about them a little bit. Um, so you can go through these if you want, but he goes through them in a little bit different ways. So just remember those 6 things that I need you to have: the title. So we're working down from the story. The title, the pictures, the story. What does it mean? The interpretation of the story or your observation, the data, the which is told to the child. Okay, and the story is written past tense and first person. The what does it mean is written to the child. Opportunities and possibilities, we want to use a we statement there. We can put out, so you're connecting you and the child and others in the class. Okay, and then the last one is a blank page with the title, family, the voice. All right. Nothing else has to be in there with the family voice. It's just getting you uh, uh, getting you in the habit of having a page for the family to add to it, or anybody else. Okay. All right. So that's that one. I promised you I would show you the examples of the learning story. And here's Josie Drip. This is the one I usually show. Now he's presented it in a PowerPoint presentation. Um, but you don't have to do it. You can have pages, just a single page or two, like a Word document, to do it that way. I'll show you how you can do that in just a second, and then we can follow up with that. The other thing I do want to say is there's other ways of doing learning stories. These 6 are generally the 6 that we'll see most often. There's other things that get added sometimes, or some usually not taken away, but usually some things are added and changed around a little bit, and names and topics are a little bit, not topics, but subheadings change their names a little bit, but generally they're the same. All right, so without further ado, let's take a look at this example of a learning story. So here we have the title, all right, and he's added a picture already. So he has Josie stripped down a hill. I'll try and read this, but my throat is getting a little bit dry and awkward, so I'll try and read it with you. Just a second. So, Josie had been painting a while when so he's doing it first person, when I saw her make a hill by pushing the paper towards the tray. So he's writing it in past tense and with I statements, but first person. Okay. I had never seen anyone do this before, so I began to take pictures. Josie was closely watching the paint. Josie touched the brush to the paint at the top of the hill. A drip slowly ran down the hill, making a blue line. Josie filled her brush again and added more blue paint to the top of the slope in the very same place. She added paint to the pink area of the top hill. A second drop of paint began to slide downhill through the pink area. The first drip line was now all the way at the bottom. Josie pushed the paper towards the paint tray and made the hill steeper. The drip was going almost straight down now. She added more paint to the top. Josie watched intently, so that would be a non-objective statement, but that's okay in our learning stories, as it slowly made its way to the bottom of the hill. Okay, so that part was the learning story part of it. Now he's broken it up into captions underneath the pictures. You don't have to do that. It can be a couple of pictures on top, and then your story, and then the what does it mean, Okay, so that you can use it in that kind of template. You can also use it in a PowerPoint if you wish to, and do the captions if you want to as well. It's up to you how you want to do it. So it can be in a Word document or a PowerPoint. But you need to make sure you have those 6 pieces. So we saw at the beginning, we had the title. Uh, we have the pictures, obviously. So we have the title, which is Josie's Drip Down a Hill. Right. We have the pictures. We saw lots of pictures. We have the story, which were the captions underneath. Now we have the what does it mean. So he writes it to the child. Okay, we're writing it to the child here. Josie, you discovered how to make paint draw a line down by sliding down a hill. You concentrated on how it moved. Not only were you a painter, today you were a scientist. You did an experiment. You watched the effect of the hill on the drip that you caused. That careful looking is how scientists discover how things work. You wondered about something and figured it out. Okay. Opportunities and possibilities. So this is written as a we statement in most sense, or like what can we do? He's written a little bit differently here, but basically it's the same thing. Well, he does have a we statement down here. Josie seems to have a disposition to wonder and be intrigued with physical properties of paint that is worth exploring in a greater detail. We can bring out the easels tomorrow with thick paint and water that she can mix. Eyedroppers may help too. We will want to show these drip lines to the other children, for it may spark their interest too. Then a group of children might have some ideas of what to do next. All right, and then we have the parent voice. So we saw all 6 of those pieces in these 13 slides. We have the picture at the very front. We have the title. Sorry, we had the title at the very front. We had the pictures also at the very front, but we had lots of other pictures. We had the story, which was under all of the captions. We had the what does it mean, which is written to the child. We had opportunities and possibilities, which are ideas, what we could do tomorrow or the next day, or what we could put out. And the last one is the family voice. I want to call it the family voice, not just the parents, because we could also have grandparents or siblings or the child themselves add to the story. Okay, so that's the learning stories. I promised I would show you another one. These are exemplars from the New Zealand website that I was talking to you about earlier. We'll have some discussion about the Tafariki and different frameworks next, I think in the next couple of weeks, but we'll talk about those. So this is a learning story. He has the name James Pursues a Friendship. Here they have the name, date, and who the observer was. I'm not interested in that right now, but it is also a good idea to put those in, but you don't need to do that right now. So we have the title, we have the pictures. All right. So you see this one, they put the pictures at the top. Generally, when we're doing learning stories, or when I've done learning stories, this is how I do it. I've also done it with the PowerPoint, but most of the time I do it this way. It's easier to print out in a single page or two, and then I put it in a binder and have all the parents can kind of go through it at the same time. So this is the story at the top, right? And they kind of talk about what's happening here. One thing I want to remind you, and it's not captured here or in the other one, but because they didn't talk, I want you to capture the talking, right? Make sure if the children are talking to each other, capture what they're saying. Really make sure that we are capturing what they're talking. Okay, so the top is the story. Short-term review. This is kind of what does it mean. And then what's next? Short-term review. What's next? So they didn't write this in the same way that I want you to write, and they didn't write obviously this one the same way either. I want you to speak to the child when you're writing the what does it mean, the what's next, or the opportunities and possibilities, what we could do next. This is also the what does it mean as well. These aspects down here. Okay, so the this framework is a little bit different, and like I mentioned, learning stories and documentation can be done in lots of different ways. But generally, we have those 6 principles. Okay, and make sure that we do have those. But you can put it on the page like this one is done as well. All right. So once you're finished that, you can submit your learning story here. You can do it in PDF or PowerPoint. Submit it in PDF will probably be the best way. Uh, but that is it. That's basically the learning stories that we're going to be doing over the next little while. I'm going to be providing um, some good feedback for the very first couple, uh, and then that feedback will slowly become. Oh no, we'll continue on with the feedback to make sure everybody's understanding what the learning stories are and how to do them. But we'll be doing 5 of them over the next 5 weeks. Okay. And that's it. Below here, there's a couple of different videos about talking about wordiness and redundancy and trying to minimize that wordiness and make your stories nice and clean and easy to read. All right. So again, if you do have any questions about the learning stories or this assignment, I am available in office hours Mondays, 10:30 to 12:30. If I'm here, but sometimes it's just blank because I turn off the video. So if you do come in, you can just give a shout out, and I'll pop back in. Okay. And if you do other times, you can also email myself or Alana and ask any questions before this is all done. Okay. So I will stop this exceptionally long video now, and I will leave you to it. Thank you very much. Bye.